Hello and welcome to Bread and Honey, the brand new series from Times Money Mentor, where nothing is off the table. Today we're asking, can money buy you happiness? I'm joined by Stephanie Lake and Rebecca Reid. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
So money can't buy you happiness. How many times have we heard that one? But how true is it? Is there a limit beyond which our basic needs are met? And some additional extras, obviously, where more money, like food when you're sated, can actually start to make you feel unhappy or unwell in the case of food. Is it the pursuit of money that makes us happy? Is it just the fear of not having it that makes us stressed and unhappy? So, Stephanie, Rebecca, can money buy you happiness?
100%. Like, absolutely no question in my mind. Money
Want
can
to
buy
think about that? No?
I'm with you, 100%. Yeah, surely it does. Surely.
We shall see. Okay, so if I could ask you, is there one thing, just to kick this off, if there's one thing that you've bought that still gives you the same amount of happiness that you had when you first bought it,
I can
what
jump
is it?
straight in. You don't even need to
I
finish your
know.
sentence.
what is it?
Egyptian cotton bed sheets. I will say it again for the people in the back. Egyptian cotton bed sheets.
That is actually interesting because I was going to say my mattress, but...
Same vibe.
I just realised that my mattress was sent to me as a press freebie, so I didn't pay for it.
That's okay.
If I had paid for
Yeah.
it, I would still feel every time I got into it. Same thing as sheets.
Yeah.
I am so glad I have this lovely thing. Like,
Yeah.
that is the single bed. Have you got one? What's yours?
So mine was going to be, this is hard, right? I was thinking, you know, I'm not a stuff person, you
Oh,
know.
I'm a stuff.
Money can't buy you happiness. No, I'm not quite like that. But so this year for my birthday, I got slippers
Ooh.
from my brother, and I thought, thanks. It's kind of like middle-aged gift, isn't it? It's socks next, you know? Game changer.
I'm getting the vibe that this is your first slipper.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good question. How have you arrived at
Yeah, right.
adulthood slipperless?
I know, it's
I'm
incredible.
shocked.
Socks
I'm
and
surprised.
free hotel slippers.
I can see you've been wearing the little paper ones that they give you, but
Which you
nothing-
throw them away too soon.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I just thought, it's a bit of a faff, isn't it? You know, slippers.
I don't wear slippers personally, so I'm on side with you on that front.
They're Uggs.
Nice.
Game changer.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for the day where I accidentally walk into the supermarket with, I mean, it's not even accidental.
I know the TikTok girlies are wearing them as shoes.
I'm going to
It's
be that
trendy.
person. I'm going to be that person. It's an absolute game changer.
It's a good
But
thing.
what-
It's stylish.
Yeah.
What is really interesting, and it seems we've veered off the topic here, but absolutely not, absolutely not, is this happiness or is this comfort?
But they're kind of both. And I think it's an
So
interesting...
what is happiness?
Oh, I mean, that's a big question. Okay, so I think
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
There's two kinds of happiness from money. That I get a very specific kind of happiness when I'm making decent money and as a freelancer, it comes and goes. And I look at my bank account and I know that there are very few emergencies that could come up that I couldn't deal with on that day. That is like the warmest, fuzziest feeling. And there's also an additional kind of happiness that I get where on a Saturday morning, I take my pushchair to the bougie high street near me and I go to the florist and I get some flowers and I go to the butcher and I buy meat from there rather than the supermarket. And then I might get like a candle. And that I've spent quite a lot of money achieving very little.
Yeah.
But I've bought myself a lovely day.
Yeah.
So I
It's
think
experience, yeah.
It's the kind that makes you not worried. And then it's the kind that gives you lovely indulgence.
So we hear this a lot with relationships as well. Is it, and life, the pursuit of happiness is wrong, and actually it's the contentness almost.
Yeah.
It's that comfort. It's the slipper feel. It's the Egyptian cotton.
slipper
It's the
feel,
knowing you
yeah.
could go to a bougie butcher's. You
but
know?
I think it's the comfort is, so happiness is like an elevated state. It's an unusual level of emotion, whereas comfort or contentment is more of a nice middle ground.
It's the bread and honey lifestyle.
Yeah.
Comfort is the bread. Bougie is the honey on the top, the luxury.
Completely. But I don't think it's wrong to want the honey bit as well. And I think
No.
there's something in all of us that we're supposed to reject, the consumerist, the wanting to sort of have things, the sort of showing off. But actually, I don't think it is wrong to like to go to an eye shop and buy something every now and again.
It's not wrong. It's
think it's
okay.
okay. It's very human.
It is. Life is for enjoyment.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
as long as you don't hurt other people with it. If you could put a number on it, both of you, do you have a number for your earnings? Because there's so much research into this, and I'll dig into that in a sec. But do you have a number, a figure? If I earn this amount regularly as a freelancer, we're both freelancers here, so it's the regular thing. If I earn this
Yeah.
amount regularly, I'm laughing.
I would say, so I have a 2-year-old and my childcare bill is just shy of £30,000 a year. So before I had her, I think I was making about £75,000 in a good year, and I didn't have a huge childcare bill, and my half of the mortgage was about £1,000. So if I could go back to that level of lifestyle, so now I think I probably make a bit less than that. I probably make 60 because I work less. If I could make 60 plus the childcare, so 90, plus maybe 10 for savings. So I think £100,000 a year, I would feel really good and safe and comfortable.
Yeah. After which point you start losing your personal allowance and you get taxed really heavily by the government anyway.
Everyone says like 101,000 is the worst possible salary.
I mean, I think a lot of people would take that. Like, I'll be honest with you, we'd take that salary. Okay, government, you can have a little bit more.
I'd be comfortable with it. But that's my guess. I think that would make a big difference.
A really interesting point though about tax. But no, it is an interesting point. The more you earn, there is that tax element to it. Stephanie, do you have a figure?
I think $250,000 a year.
Okay, so I really
big.
underpitched it then.
I think you did, yeah. To be like shockingly happy, yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think I'd get exponentially
sickeningly happy. I would be.
No, I just think once you reach that, don't get me wrong again.
You take it.
Once you reach that stage, are you not? And all of the evidence shows that we are never happy. Right? If you're earning $30,000, there was the University of California research about this, you want $50,000. If you're earning $100,000, you want $250,000. Because you start living within your means. It's called lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
So the more you earn, the more you spend, and the more you spend on better stuff, more bougie butchers and wine shops and the like. But so 250, that's a big old whack. So would you continually be happy at that stage? You'd want more, surely.
I think you could be right. Lifestyle creep would probably creep up on me.
That didn't happen to me.
I'd like to try it.
When you were earning your $250,000.
Well, I was.
Didn't happen to me.
I do remember when I went from earning in my mid-20s. I got a big book deal, and I went from having big for books. I was probably earning about £25,000, and then suddenly I was making about 85 for 2 years, and there was no lifestyle creep. It was just I am so rich. I was, and I bought every round. Everyone got amazing Christmas presents because my lifestyle was still very commensurate with being a 26-year-old. But also, I had more money than anybody else I knew, and I loved it, and I was incredibly happy. And obviously, I didn't.
And your friends sounded like they'd have been happy.
Yeah, my friends
very
had a
generous
lovely
friend.
time. But again, it was a happiness thing for me because I loved the power of being like, "Don't worry, guys, I've got this." It made me feel really good.
Oh no, I feel like it's gone a bit like.
It's not because I was like, and whoever behaves badly has to pay for themselves. Like, no, I didn't use it as a sort of Game of Thrones kind of power, but I love the sort of freedom of
empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's like a nicer way of phrasing it.
But it makes me think, like, if you were to remember the happiest time in your life, because what you've just described there sounds like a really lovely time.
Yeah.
Yes, banking loads of money on your friends.
Yeah.
It's nice. What would that be, and what role did money play in it? So where was money? And just to give you an idea, so I was talking about this with a friend of mine who said the richest that he felt, and sort of, I suppose, to a degree, not the happiest, but, the richest he felt and most comfortable with money was when he was had just gone into a graduate program, so post-university where you're not earning anything, to a graduate program that was paying reasonably well, no kids, no responsibility. That was the best time. I get freedom of not having the responsibility of having kids. So as someone who's got kids, you probably hear that quite loudly, right?
But I remember I worked at Harrods in the summer between my first and second year of university, and they paid me something. It was incredibly well paid. For shop work, it was something like £360 a week, and I had which now is probably the equivalent of like 500 or something. And I was staying with friends, so I had no rent to pay, nowhere to be. All I had to do was turn up, and I still got paid. And I've never felt so rich. It was amazing. And I got a 33% discount in store, so very little of that money left.
And also never felt so poor.
Exactly.
Isn't it funny though that it's the amount of money? The amount that you make actually isn't that important. So I was thinking, like, when was the best time? Just before the pandemic. Weather was great.
Yeah.
Like, I was swanning off. I was in LA for a month, and then I went to Germany. Like, I was living in London. My rent was really quite expensive. I was earning half of probably what I'm earning now, but it felt a great time.
Yeah.
So it was like enough to be comfortable. I'm more on your side though. I think for me, if I was to think of a figure between 80,000, 100 would be quite comfortably happy.
And without children, that
Yeah, obviously.
then you're not wasting it on paying people to look after the children you made yourself have, which is a sensible equation.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure all of us here would be quite happy to experiment this. You know, if anybody wants to give us $1 million, 2 million, and perhaps 5 million, just to see how.
I think that seems
But
fair.
I do think, I'm not sure that lifestyle creep would happen to me, but there is that sense that you always think you are not wealthy. I've never met anybody who would say they are wealthy. And I've heard friends' parents who have like 2 or 3 houses being like, but you know, we really struggle to make sure that all those houses are heated or whatever. Like your concept of what struggling is just gets
Central
harder and
heating
harder.
in castles. People just don't appreciate the
People
struggle.
don't, and because you can't double glaze.
You can't double.
You just can't because of planning permission.
The turrets.
It's true, though. There is, I mean, look, we don't want to sound glim about it. There's a dark side to earning loads of money. But actually, I do think, and what we were saying with the £250,000 figure, a lot of the research into this shows that actually it's not so much about, again, how much you earn. It's how much you earn in relation to other people.
Yes.
So keeping up with the Joneses is an absolute thing.
Yeah.
If you earn just slightly more, not uncomfortably so, than the people around you, it contributes to your happiness.
I understand that. I think there is a very human desire to want to have a slightly nicer thing than somebody else does, or a slightly more impressive thing. And we get a lot out of our friends being like, oh my God, have you seen she's got those boots? She's got that bag. There's a reason we buy this stuff. It's not because it's actually a Chanel bag is not worth more unless people think, oh my God, Georgie's got a Chanel.
I just couldn't. Do you know what? I just couldn't.
No, me neither. And I used to think I would. I really did. But now,
I remember a few years back getting my hair done at a hairdresser's, as you do.
being blonde is very expensive.
Oh God, don't even get me started. Anyway, I was speaking to the hairdresser there. She didn't earn that much money, but she's like, oh, she had a good savings tactic. So every time she got sort of tips and a $5 or whatever, she would save them, and she would buy herself a 400, 500, I don't know how much they are, Chanel bag.
Oh, and $2,000 more like.
And I was like, why would you do that? Like, I couldn't work it out. And I was like, do you have a pension? No. I mean, she was in her 20s, so she's thinking, pension, please, I'm just doing your hair. Like,
I'm never going to be old.
Don't talk to me about pensions. But actually, nowadays, I mean, you could go into investing in Chanel handbags. I mean, I don't know if...
No, the resale on bags, particularly Birkins, if you, like, people do buy Hermes stuff as an investment.
I'm pretty sure she wasn't buying it for that. But I can't bring myself to buy something really expensive. So I'll say to like, oh, you know what, buying a Rolex watch or whatever. But then I think about how much do I spend on my beauty, for example, and clothes. That is a Rolex watch a year.
Yeah.
Doubtless. Honestly, that's a Rolex watch a year. But I wonder as well, is it not that money can buy you happiness? Is it that the fear of losing money makes you unhappy?
Yeah.
So the more you earn, that's that consideration.
I think it would be really difficult to have that lifestyle adjustment.
I've definitely found, because my career has gone up and down, ebbed and flowed, pandemic, obviously as a self-employed person, as it did for lots of people, really changed my finances. And I always assumed that progress would be linear. So as soon as I went up a sort of income bracket, it would stay there. And that's absolutely not been the case. And I hate economizing. I hate that I used to go to Space NK and get all my products in one go and then go home and use them all. And now I'm like, I'm back on Pan 10. Like it feels like a come down. And there's a humiliation to it that I used to be the one being like, don't worry guys, I got this. And now I'm like, actually, can we pay for what we had? It's, I don't love it. It doesn't feel great.
It goes to the fact that money is so much more than just ones and zeros, pounds and pence, right? There's so much tied up with it.
Well, it's about how we value ourselves. It's about the freedom and the power that we have. And I think also it's a little bit how we benchmark against the people we know. And my friendship group is like my sort of immediate university friendship group. Everybody else has made sort of progressively improved earnings. And I do sometimes look at them and go, God, what did I do? Like, why did I pick my silly job? But then, there are different advantages to what I do. But I do think it does give you a lot of sense about who you are as a person.
Would you change your job?
No. And also, I don't think I'm qualified to do anything else.
Okay.
I really don't.
Go back in time. To a 16, 15-year-old deciding your GCSEs or whatever you do, 14, 13. How old are you when you decide your GCSEs? Young.
Yeah.
You're mulling it over whilst you're in Harrods. You're thinking, what should I do?
Yeah, I think I would have made different life choices. I think I wouldn't have done the having a baby, becoming a single parent bit quite the same way. But career-wise...
How would you do a single parent having a baby way?
Older?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. But I think in terms of the making a career decision for the money you make, I do have lots of friends who did that, and they always say, I'm going to do 5 years in banking, I'll do 10 years in law, and then I'll get out. And all of them have arrived at that 5 years or 10 years and gone, well, I haven't got quite enough money, so I'll keep going.
Right.
And they do
Absolutely
it
right.
every year, and they will eventually admit to themselves that they never did. They never left. They will retire having done that. And I think that will be there's a sadness in that too.
Definitely.
Yes, I have a couple of friends actually who they, after uni, I can't remember what they did at uni actually, but after uni they went and they worked on yachts for 5 years. The boy and a girl as a couple. It's a lifestyle. You don't have the freedoms, but in their first year they got paid 50k in tips, so tax free. They now have a 5-property portfolio in Southwest London.
And presumably they were living rent free on, like when you live on the boat, you don't pay. Yeah.
You get a fairly good salary. They were on, I couldn't say whose boat, but most people would certainly know this person.
Wow.
You sacrifice 5 years of your life to sit on a boat in the Caribbean. It's hard.
But I'm just saying, how would they have known that at the time in a way? I don't know. Did they make that decision at the start that we know we're going to get all these tips and that's why we're going to go? Or did they think we just want to enjoy ourselves for 5 years?
Probably a bit of both. But I mean, it's really, really hard work. Have you seen Below Deck?
Yeah, you're somebody else. You're a servant,
What is Below Deck?
basically.
It's a series on some streaming platform.
No.
But it is really hard work. But
Yeah.
you can get paid lots.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And I think I probably...
Really? Would you go back and do it?
Maybe not 5 years, because, I mean, they were a couple, so I think it's a bit different. You've got a bit of a sanity connection or a sounding board or something. I'm going to say 3 years.
That's interesting. I don't think I had it in me. And also, I don't know, I had so much fun running around being like a little baby journalist, showing off and writing about my silly little life. Like I went and I was the sex columnist for the Telegraph for ages. And that was a job that meant I was unemployable in lots of other ways and will continue to. Like nobody would hire me because of the stuff I've written about, but I don't regret it.
What was that like for your dating life?
I mean, I was fairly fraudulent to be doing it because
You were just writing notes on the side halfway through?
I was in a relationship.
Excuse me, darling. This is going to make a great column.
I basically had like 4 fun years after university of being quite naughty. And then after that, I was with the guy I married. So it was a bit fraudulent that I was writing about these things. But, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
But also I think it's difficult because industries change. Like freelance journalists 30 years ago would have been making the equivalent of about £100,000 where I am. And there's just no way. Like there's not enough journalism that you can do in the world to do that alone. So it's difficult. You can make a decision about your career based on the industry as it currently stands. And by the time you get there, it can be a very different industry.
Absolutely. And we were talking about AI and all that sort of thing. Diversification, though. Diversification of your portfolio is what I like to think. But this has made me think, does where your money comes from, because I was thinking about what you said with your book deal, mean it has a different sort of feeling when you spend it? Do you know what I mean? That
100%.
How cool is that? I've got a book deal.
That's unquestionably. In the first paid piece that I ever did for the Telegraph, I went and bought myself, I can't even tell you which piece of jewellery it is now, but if I thought about it, I could. But I was like, I'm going to buy something that shows like that's the first time I got paid for writing, which is what I've been dreaming of since I was a kid. And when I bought my flat, which I bought on my own, even though I was married, some of the money for that flat came for like sort of, I don't know, 10% of the money for the flat was from my book. And I was like, I'm living, if I stand in this corner, I'm standing on land that is owned because I'm a writer. And that meant a huge amount to me, still does.
Stephanie, for you, does it make a difference, like where the money came from, but also where you're spending the money?
I don't think I have a diverse enough portfolio to be able to tell that, but I do. We've mentioned it in other episodes. I have done a fair few side hustles. And I will say that I've done some extra work. And for those little bits of money, that is an exciting bit to see in your bank account rather than your sort of daily wage, I guess.
And that's what I always think about people I've got some friends who have quite significant family wealth. So they are like on the board of, they're on the payroll. Then they don't earn it. They don't go to work. They don't do anything. They just get given that money as a tax write-off or whatever that is. And I sort of think, how is that fun money for you? Like, are you?
I'm pretty confident they would say, yeah, it's fine.
I don't know.
Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it, would you?
I don't feel like my parents helped me with some of the money to buy my house, and they have helped me financially since I became a single parent. And I feel icky about that money. I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful, but I don't like it. When I see it in my bank account, it makes me feel a bit. Ugh.
I don't know. If I get paid I got paid to do an after dinner speech, quite a lot of money, by a company, I was a bit, and I'm always really sort of funny about who I work. You have to be as a journalist, especially a financial journalist. It felt there was a sort of funny feeling about having that money. I mean, it sort of went into the pot of my money, but I think I justified it by going, okay, well, I'll do something great with it, or do you know?
But I remember I did some writing for a tobacco company, and people messaged me afterwards saying, "Did you realise this was going to be spon con for a tobacco company?" And I was like, do you know how much money I gave that tobacco company over the 15 years that I was a smoker? I want something back. So I think you find your own level, right? There are a few places I wouldn't want to work for because the money wouldn't make me happy. But there are some places where I'm very happy to suspend that because I want the dollar.
And I think you're finding your own level. You're like absolutely right, because it's a great position to be in. I think there are so many people out there who don't have that opportunity to think like that. So you've already, once you've got that level of happiness, you can then be a bit more selective about where that happiness comes from, maybe.
And that, I think, is financial freedom for me. Like, my dad always had this big thing about desperately wanting to pay off a mortgage so that whatever happens, they can't really take your house. Like, you've always got somewhere to live. And I think that for me, it's the happiness comes from having enough stability and safety to be able to turn things down, pick things up, focus on the things that matter to you. And that's maybe the main happiness from all of it.
There's two areas I really want to touch on before we end the show. And the first is the link between wealth and health.
Yeah, which is staggering.
We cannot deny that you have the better access to healthcare, fitness, those sorts of things if you have money.
Well, a direct correlation between life expectancy and income. But also, I really notice the correlation between quality of life. So friends of mine whose parents are in their 60s who grew up without much money, that I notice a physical difference. If you've worked a hard-working physical job for your entire life, your body wears that. If you've worked in an office your entire life, it wears it differently. And if you've always had access to being able to see a physio or a nutritionist or anything you need, again, your 60 is different with and without money. And that is desperately unfair.
Yeah, and there's some statistics from the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Almost 40% of the poorest fifth in the UK weren't working or retired, most reported being permanently sick or disabled, compares to only 9% of those in both the middle fifth and the wealthiest fifth. So look, there's the wealth aspect to it, there's the health aspect to it. But the other one, so those are obviously the pros of having money. The cons, I was sort of intrigued to read that you aren't very nice. The research shows the richer you become, you may become less ethical and less empathetic.
Interesting.
And more serious than that is actually the children of wealthy parents had a higher risk of experiencing depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and substance abuse.
And I think that rings true for anybody who spent any time with the kids of very rich people. All of them are quite mad.
There is a sense, I think, in knowing that you've earned your money. There's a happiness, and I'm wondering if the happiness comes in the pursuit of it, and the pursuit of it potentially in the right way. And then I fell on hard times when I had a serious back injury. My parents didn't have the money to support me. So I know what it's like to have gone to that really, we're talking couch surfing, wasn't earning anything over 20,000, didn't know I'd be able to earn at all. So I might have to quit my job. And so now I've come to a stage where I'm the other side. And so I've sort of got quite a nice, clear picture of it, that I have sensed that I have less fear of losing money.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not, and also having parents who were away a lot, but that gave us a lot of stuff, means that my view of stuff is different to other people's. I have no attachment really to stuff, to people and connections massively. So what makes me happy is people and connections. Now, of course, money can buy you trips out.
And
there is
time
a
with those
lovely,
people.
there's a lovely feeling about taking your friends and your family, particularly if they're struggling, and treating them. There's a wonderful feeling in that. You can go overboard and make them feel not great about it. But, I think that for me is the biggest pleasure of having money now that I haven't, is the ability to look after the people I love.
Yeah. I think it's an escape from fear. And I think it's that sense of I can cope with what life throws at me. I can protect people I love if I need to. If my child needs something, I'll always be able to provide that. And I think when I go to the corner shop with my daughter and she wants a magazine, and I don't do amazingly financially, but I do perfectly reasonably. So if she wants to go and get a $7.99 My Little Pony magazine, I don't have to think about it. And I think about every time I do it, I think it must be so hard to have to say no, not because you're teaching them good parenting, but because you aren't able to. And I think that for me, the happiness is that sense of I can provide the things I want for the people I love. And sometimes that's me, because I'm a person I love too. But a lot of the time it's the other people around me.
That's a really good point. You're a person you love too.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I'm very nice to me.
Absolutely. As you should well be. As you well should be. Stephanie, money and happiness, where does it sit with you?
I absolutely agree with you. It's an absence of fear. It's the freedom that money gives you. And, having the fear of having no money is chains.
Yeah.
And it weighs you down.
I completely agree. And I think anytime you're not waking up in the middle of the night worrying about how you're going to pay your bills, that's a real luxury. And perhaps it's worth checking in with yourself. If it isn't scaring you regularly, then you are probably richer than you realise.
I always say that, in my darkest times, and if you're going through difficult times, and we want to end this on a high, but, is remember the people that will catch you when you fall. And I guess to a certain extent, if you don't have those people around you, that's the onus is on you to create the sort of, I guess, financial cushion. But most of us will have someone around that can protect us. And I think, no matter how much money I had, I always had my family. And that, to me, was the most important thing. But anyway, thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And to you for watching. That's it for another episode of Bread and Honey from Times Money Mentor. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never have to miss an episode. Until next time. Just a reminder that anything you hear in this show is not financial advice. We are not qualified financial advisors. Remember too that investing carries risk. The value of your assets may go up as well as down, and you could lose all your money. It's best to speak to an independent financial advisor. We've plenty more on this on the Times Money Mentor website.